Hey guys, Ryan here from Indy Wrestling School, and today we're going to talk about how to create heels in your wrestling promotion. Coming up. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing below. We put out new videos every single Thursday for 3 Minute Thursday. The question I keep getting asked a lot is how do you create storylines and how do you create heels? We've gotten asked that quite often in the past, so I just wanted to kind of touch base on it. It's not going to be a super in-depth video. We're just going to view it at a high level for this video. A lot of people might already know some of this stuff, but I just want to cover it for the people who are not aware of maybe some of this and some of the architecture that goes behind building a heel. So let's do this as a scenario, right? Our heel is going to be our main eventer, right? He's going to be the champion, and all the good guys, the baby faces, will be chasing that heel. The way I personally would book it is the heel never wins cleanly. So whether that's a roll-up, they're holding the tights, they get counted out, they get DQ'd, people should always be upset that the guy won. So he shouldn't be having a cool finisher. He shouldn't be hitting all the cool moves. He shouldn't have this glorious, cool entrance. Some of the best heels I've ever used have come out to no music, or have come out to music that took them so long to get to the ring, people were furious. We had a guy named Greg Spitz who used to come out to Freebird, and literally the song would be wrapping up, and you're talking about like a 7-minute song, and he'd still be lacing his boots in the locker room. By the time he hit the ring, the people were ready to kill him. And to me, that's what a heel is. I know a couple years ago, The Rock kind of redesigned the role of the heel, but nobody out there is The Rock. So don't try to be a cool heel. It doesn't work. And if it does work, to me, it doesn't work in a main event level program. And that's just opinion. So I always like to send the crowd home happy on all my shows. Now, how do you do this if you have a heel champion who's leaving with the belt on every show? Now, we had a heel champion who held the belt for 7 years, if you can believe that. I would still send the crowd home happy every single show because he wouldn't walk away with a smile on his face. He got the better of his opponent, but at the end, he would always be on his back, or he would get embarrassed, or whatever the case was, and the babyface at the end would have his hands raised, have the people high-five him on the way out. So it was always that the babyface was standing. Even if he didn't capture the belt, the last image everybody saw before they left the arena that night was the babyface was high-fiving and smiling on his way out, and the heel got what he deserved, even if he didn't lose the title. But maybe at the next show, he'll finally get what he deserves, and he'll finally lose that title. And that's a good tactic to have in your back pocket in case you're ever working with legends, and there's certain guys who've been in the industry for a long time who will tell you up front, hey, I'll take this booking, but I can't lose. And that puts you in an awkward position if you wanted him to fight your main champion. You need to realize there's times where it's okay to do a countout or a DQ and not rip the fans off. We all have that same feeling, right? Where if it's a countout or a disqualification, we feel a little gypped. But in the events that happen after that countout or DQ or non-finish, you can change everybody's opinion and forget that they just saw a countout or a DQ. It's all in the presentation. Now, I'm not saying you drag the show on for another 15 minutes beating the hell out of the heel. But if you do something big, if the heel wins on his birthday and he just barely got his opponent up, he grabbed the tights, he's celebrating, and then he tells everybody he's gonna have a birthday cake, but he's not sharing it with anybody. But then, of course, the babyface sneaks behind him, smashes him into the cake goes flying, the babyface celebrates with the fans, starts handing out pieces of the cake. That's what people are gonna remember. They're not gonna remember that the guy just lost the match, even if just narrowly. The other thing, if you have a heel champion, I always try to set up his program for the main event earlier in the show. So either the second or the first thing out of the gate, I like to have him come out, do a quick promo, and then have the babyface come out, issue the challenge, let everybody know he's going to be fighting for him. And of course, they don't interact. The big thing for me is when you have a killer heel, he doesn't get beat up until the main event. You can see him before the main event, but he doesn't get beat up until that main event. Same thing with managers. If you have a manager out there who's managing 3 guys and he's in 3 matches on that show, do not have the manager get his early in the show. That first match on the show, even if he's in that match, he could do a spot here and there. Do not let anybody lay their hands on that manager if they're a heel. That all should happen in the main event or very close to the main event. Now, there are exceptions, of course. With everything, there's exceptions. If the manager is in the midst of a program that's been going on for several shows, he's got his heel contender and the other babyface, and you're ending this program, then it's okay to let the babyface unload, but don't have the manager bump in the main event then also. There's just too much going on then, and it kind of loses the focus on him getting beat up earlier in the show. With managers, you want to use them sparingly and only let them take that abuse once a show. I see that as a classic mistake mistake on a lot of shows where the manager just thinks it's his job to go out and get beat up on every single match, and it just doesn't work, and it doesn't get the same reaction the 5th match in as it did on the 1st match. The first time they see it will be the biggest reaction. If you build it up throughout the whole show, the reaction will be huge. So those are just some of the tips and tricks I use to build a heel. There's so much more, and you could go in depth on this and go on and on and on, but I'm gonna cut it off right there. Like I said, this is just a 50,000 foot view of how to build a heel and the way I do it. If you like this video, please beat the shit out of the like button, and I'll see you next week for 3 Minute Thursday.